Okay, here's our last one. Y is less than negative 1/3 x plus 4. So let's do a couple of things. The first thing I want to say is, what kind of line is this? Horizontal, vertical, or diagonal? Which one is it? That's right, it's diagonal. Now you want to remember how you determine that, because it has both x and y in the equation. All right, so the next thing that I want to do is determine, is it going to be a solid line or a dotted, broken, whatever you want to call it. So that's what we look at the inequality sign for. Does it have an equal to underneath it? No, it doesn't. So this is going to be dotted, dashed, broken, etc. So since this is a diagonal line, remember the things that are important for a diagonal line. 1, I need the slope. 2, I need the y-intercept. So let's identify those next. Here is my y-intercept. This is B. This is where you're going to begin your graph. This is the y-intercept, okay, and I abbreviate that. So the y-intercept is positive 4. That's where we're going to start our graph. So let's go to positive 4 on the y-axis. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. Stick our dot. The next thing that we have to do is move according to what the slope says. So our slope is here. Here it is, negative 1/3, that's m. That is your slope. And slope tells you how to move. And we're going to move from our point at 4, okay? So if our slope is negative 1/3, how am I going to move? My slope is negative 1/3. So that means I'm going to go down 1 and over 3, okay? Because it's the top number tells me, do I go up or down? So I'm going to count down 1 over 1, 2, 3, stick a point. Now remember, this is a dotted line. So if you want to make several of these, you can. So down 1 over 1, 2, 3, stick a point. Down 1 over 1, 2, 3, stick a point. When I do this on my paper by hand, I do this several times so that when I go through, I can make my dashes and cheat so that I make sure I have a straight line. Just because that's how I do it. But you don't have to. So see, by doing this, see how I can create my dotted line? Just do it like this. Because it's diagonal, so I have a hard time drawing diagonal lines. Free-handed anyway. Okay, so that's looking okay, I guess. It's good enough. Now, here's the difference. You can't just say, I want to shade above the line or below the line. I mean, you can, but what if I'm really not 100% sure? Is there a way to test this information to make sure that I know, do I shade above the line or below the line? Well, you can quote cheat if you shade less than. I mean, you think about what's less than. If this is your diagonal line, what would less than, what would you think that less than would be? Do you really think less than would be above? No, it's not. Less than is usually under, below the line. But what if I was unsure and I wanted to check to make sure? Here's an easy way to do it. You can pick what's called a test point. Now, I'm picking 0, 0, the origin. Can I always pick the origin? Yeah, you can, as long as your line doesn't go through the origin. If it goes through the origin, you can't pick it because it obviously falls on the line. But if your line is anywhere above the origin or below the origin, you can always pick it as your test point. Now, what happens when I test this? To test your point, you're going to take your x value and your y value, you're going to plug them in and see if it works. If it comes out true, then you pick the correct point and you shade there. If it comes out false, you pick the wrong point, so you shade on the opposite side. So let's do that. So if I substitute this in, that would be 0 is less than negative 1/3 x. That means 1/3 times 0 plus 4. Okay? So when I work this out, you see that? No, any number times 0 is 0. So I can cross this off, and that's 0 less than 4. Now, is that a true statement? Is 0 really less than 4? Yes, it is. Yay. Since it really is less than 4, then this test point that I picked out is true. So since it's true, I'm going to shade here below this line. If it would have come out false, then I would have shaded on the opposite side, okay? All right, that's it for this one. Come back, I've got one more to show you, okay? See you in a minute.